Good morning, Carlos. I am doing awesome. It's like 70 degrees outside, and it's about 85. So I've enjoyed the morning. I hope you're doing well too.
Good, good. Yeah, it's the weather's starting to get nice over here as well. We had a great weekend, so looking forward to that nice weather. Except some get away from some of these muggy days we had. So,
Good morning, Carlos. I am doing awesome. And if you happen to hear some background noise, I've got thunderstorms rolling through. So
okay, gotcha. All right, guys. So welcome. Let's get right to it. So we don't have a big gappers list this morning. If you're joining us for the first time, as usual, Tuesday through Friday, we go over our top plays and highlights from yesterday. So basically, our watch list from yesterday. We'll go and see how these trade is. Then we'll get into our gappers list over here. Actually, we're going to get into our news and then our gappers list. Then Nasdaq active, Nasdaq gainers, and then we'll get down over to some announcements, and then we'll start finalizing this list of our watch list, making it a little smaller and seeing what we like and what we don't to kind of fine tune our list for the day. So let's get right to it. So MDCO was on our watch list. Pre-market activity was a little bit all over the place. Was not one of my favorites, but it actually turned out to be a beautiful trade right at the open. I mean, you cannot get a better clean drop like this on MDCO. Even the 1 minute looks very clean. You can see some good pullbacks and entry on the one, and also look at the 5. You have this big drop, which is very difficult to trade once it gets so extended from VWAP. So again, it's very tough to take a trade in here because you don't know how deep this pullback is going to be, and sometimes it happens so fast that it just drops down and you're not able to get a really good entry. So let's say, for example, you on this pullback, you got in a little late. You could have missed it towards the heading towards the bottom of the low of the day at that time, right? So it becomes a beautiful drop. Get right in here for a short, and then you can see how beautifully this drops down even lower to some of these levels. We do have 2 levels on here. I'm assuming those are the 2 highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. I'm assuming that's what that is. And then you get a beautiful reversal back up to VWAP and then all the way up to the high of the day. Now let's talk about this. How many times have we seen this where these strong stock, I believe the stock gapped up quite a bit. Yep. So this stock had gapped up yesterday. You can see right on here. Sold off at the open and then shoots right back up. Target did the same thing a couple of days ago. RTRX also did the same thing. Again, we're seeing these moves more often in the market where, again, they sell off, people taking profit. This was up quite a bit, finds a bottom, and then just squeezes up above VWAP heading towards the high of the day, which was at 39. And it's funny that 39 was also looks like it was a level as well in during the pre-market at that time, or maybe a daily level we found going back. So again, just a very nice move on MDCO towards the downside, and then after this finding this bottom here towards the VWAP reversal, and even gave you some more opportunities here. And also just one more thing, guys, because we see this a lot, where here's your VWAP line, right? This blue line here, where it breaks above the VWAP. And usually I don't like to go long here because it could be a fake out, but it comes back and kind of tests the VWAP one more time. So usually on that retest, it's a good area to get in for a long, for continuation. Obviously your stop at VWAP or slightly below it because it can test it again, and then it takes off nicely towards the high of the day. So a lot of good moves on MDCO on that day. BMY was just, I mean, this looks brutal. Andrew was able to trade this, and I believe he took several trades on this one. But man, this one was just nasty. Look at these candles. It goes up, sells back down, up again, and sells back down. It's just, there's no pattern at all here. And people ask, well, how do you know something's going to be choppy? Well, you don't know sometimes until you're into the trade. So, for example, let's look at this 1 minute, right? Because we are looking at the 1 minute and the 5. Look at this beautiful drop. Finds the support, comes back up right above VWAP. If you go in here for a long because you waited for the 5 minute, the 5 minute opening range, right, which will be right on here, what happens? Immediately just drops right back down and it just gets choppy, right? So you would have been stopped out here. Then it comes below VWAP. It looks like it's going to do it one more time. So, okay, maybe now is the time to go test the highs of the days and go higher. Again, another drop right below towards the VWAP. So, again, just pretty nasty. And then eventually just became a good short. It was just not, it was looking long, but just became a good short after the fact. This is why the rule of getting stopped out 2 or 3 times after you take a stab on something, 2 or 3 times, you just want to take a step back and just see what the longer time frame is giving you. When the market opens, you don't have that much information, right? You only have 5 minutes, you only have 15 minutes, 10 minutes. At one point, you're going to have more information to look at. But starting out, you don't have this data. So if you get stopped out 3 or 2 times, look back and see what new data you have that's showing you on different time frames. Selgi was the same thing as a mirror of BMY. So again, same exact situation. You can see here choppiness, a lot less volume on Selgi than BMY. BMY was trading a lot better volume wise, but again, just the exact same situation, nothing clean about it. Here's AMD. AMD again, nice sell off here, found a bottom around this level down here, 29.95 or so, and then just shot up nicely. Didn't care what the market was doing. The market, I think, was selling off a bit around this time, because I remember we were looking at TVIX as well, and it just kept going higher and higher. So you can see here how it goes above the V up, and it's just this beautiful squeeze here. It just came out of nowhere. That's a tough trade to take because you wanted to come back and test the VWAP and then head higher. So not an easy trade to anticipate or get a signal for, but you can see here how higher highs, higher lows, and it just takes off nicely, breaking the high of the day at that time and hitting all the way up to 3073, which obviously we did have a level on here from the daily, so it hits that right on the head before it sells right back down. BA, I didn't watch the price action on BA closely, guys. So again, not sure how clean this traded. Here looks like it was a beautiful drop. You got a nice little candle here where it tries to sell up, comes right back down, does a retest again, cannot break out towards the high, and then just loses the VWAP completely, doing a beautiful drop here on the 5. But again, not sure how clean this was, and it looked like it didn't have quite a lot of volume. Pre-market, we had great volume in the pre-market for BA, so I'm shocked that we didn't get more volume at doing these candles here. So nice drop here. Then again, just like AMD, just a pop out of nowhere. Look at this squeeze all the way to VWAP. That's a nasty squeeze. We're going from 358 all the way to 364. So hopefully nobody got caught in that. That's pretty nasty there. And then eventually sells right back down. But again, now a nice short here, and then from here just becomes really untradeable at that point. Here's Target. Target has a beautiful daily chart, guys. It's one of the stocks that actually I think is going to go back and test the highs, the all-time highs. You can see here, nice drop again, finds a bottom on this moving average as well as some levels down here, and then finally kind of just slowly creeps up and goes higher. Here goes above VWAP, guys, and comes back down and retests it. That's a good entry point again to go long, and you can see how it breaks the highs and continues to be higher. I just want to show you the daily on this. The daily has been very, very nice because, again, you had this gap up. You had a really big red day on, I believe it was last week. And this stock barely budged, right? And now it seems to be holding this, consolidating. So is it going for potentially hitting that all-time high one more time? So we'll definitely keep an eye on Target. It's been really strong. Not a stock you want to short. All right, guys. So let's get into some news. Norm, what do we got going on today?
Well, Carlos, before we get to that, can you throw on Foot Locker for yesterday?
Yes,
absolutely. Several of us traded that one, so.
Foot Locker. Let's see what we have here. Oh man.
Yep. So zoom in right there. It was a beautiful descending wedge on that, and so it was. Foot Locker was just massively hit on earnings Friday. If you look at the daily on that big down candle from, I think it closed around 42 or just under 42, and then the day before, and then earnings came out. And they were all the way down to 34. So 20+% haircut on that overnight. And then we got a little bit of a bounce yesterday. It started rolling up, and if you pull up the 5-minute, it was strong after an original sell-off at the open. It was strong. Came up against the moving average right there, and just put in that wedge. And one thing that was really a clue, I know some people were talking about shorting this one, and I kept my eye on it. It took me 2 tries to find where it was going to break through because I thought it was going to break through right around noon when it got back up to that moving average. But look at the descending volume in the same time frame as that wedge.
Yeah.
And it was sitting against that, so I knew if it could break to the upside, it would finally push through, and then it was a nice trade for the rest of the day.
Yeah, no, this was real nice, guys. So hopefully you guys took advantage of this one. But this is what we talk about, being careful shorting these strong stocks, right? So even though this had gapped down, it had gapped up yesterday, recovering a bit. And you want to be careful when you see this type of action, right? Look how strong this is. You get these pullbacks. Sometimes you could get a double top and get a short, but you want to be very careful in shorting these things. We've seen plenty of stocks with these little fake outs, and then they just go for another massive move towards the top. All right, excellent. Thanks for sharing that, Norm. Let's go over to the SPY and see what we got going on today.
Yeah, so man, as we all know, yesterday was a chop fest. I bet I talked to over 10 to a dozen people one on one yesterday that just got chopped up and eaten up, and I did for the most part too, except for that one I just pointed out on Foot Locker. So, Spy is, we've obviously got all this trade news going on. It's a little confusing. The G7 ended, so market's just trying to figure out where it's going. This is also August, slow summer trading, and with the holiday weekend coming up, a lot of people are fitting in their last summer vacation. So volume's been super light. It can cause some of those whippy, choppy action that can't decide anything, and then once something happens, it kind of goes into overdrive, and it'll just, spit you out of the trade. So, a couple of things going on today. 9 a.m. is the home price index, and then 10 a.m. Eastern is the consumer confidence, which consumer confidence could really be a big indicator. It's forecast to be down from its previous reading a little bit, but the consumer is 2/3 of the U.S. economy. The consumer is what has held us through this economic recovery since the late 2000s so far, and it has smoothed out the parts when kind of business has slowed down a little bit. The consumer's still been strong. So with people talking about recession in the news, and people obviously remember what happened 2007 and 8 and how bad that downturn was and everything else. I think it's going to be really important to watch these consumer confidence numbers as they come out. So that could be interesting, especially with the lighter volume I was just talking about.
Gotcha. That makes perfect sense. And again, we also just seen how nasty has been on the SPY here. But out of this nasty chart, again, we've been getting some good moves, but yeah, it has been slightly more difficult to trade some of these stocks with these type of movements on the SPY here.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to it, guys. So let's make some room over here. Let's see what we have in our gappers list. We do not have much. Today we don't want to have, again, I guess we don't have no FOMO on Teva and trading Momo, and then plan not to trade RKDA. So not a lot on here. So let's see what we can get out of it. So starting off with Teva here. Teva is up 3.2, 491,000 shares traded with Teva. So that's quite a bit. Teva tends to have great volume and is always on our gappers list. But man, just the pre-market activity and the way it trades. We got a little time. Let's go to see how it traded yesterday. Just to get an idea how this thing is moving. So again, it kind of has a little nice uptrend here, but it doesn't move much, guys. We're looking at again 725 here, 720, and this move here was 30 cents. So again, it was an all day to maybe get 20-30 cents out of this, and that usually doesn't happen for a lot of these stocks. So it's just very difficult to trade. But again, we got some volume today. It is up 3.2, but it's not the same as it used to be. It's funny, we were looking at in class 2 yesterday, we had some examples of Teva when it was trading at $20, and some of the great clean trades that Andrew was taking on that stock back in the days. I mean, just not trading like that anymore. But we'll keep it on here. We do have some levels already that seem still to be very relevant at the moment, 786, and we do have a moving average up here, 847. So we'll get deeper into those levels that we have already marked. They look to still be pretty good. We have Momo here. This one is up 2.8, 211,000 shares traded, so that's nice. We have traded this one in the past. When this one is in play, it can definitely move nicely. Any significant news on Momo today, Norm, or it's just bouncing with the rest of the stocks?
They reported earnings this morning. I've had some other things going on. I have not really had a chance to dive into it too extensively yet. I was actually going to start opening some stuff and reading about the earnings here in a minute.
Yeah, gotcha, man. So if you see something, let us know. But this one, even with that news right now, only 211 and is up 2.8, but not causing any great pre-market activity at the moment, but it's definitely worth watching. We are getting above all this resistance we have towards the bottom here. If you look at the previous day close here, you look at some moving averages. You have the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, so a lot of resistance towards the bottom. You could definitely have some room towards the upside here if we can get going. So let's keep definitely Momo on here. RKDA, Let's see what we have here. RKDA. I'm gonna put this down for the low flow team. So I keep mentioning the low flow team. There is actually not a low flow team. I just say that because I know there's people that like to trade low floats and they watch them every day. But someone asked me yesterday, how can they join the low flow team? There's not a low flow team. So this one is down 6.5, guys. 132,000 shares traded. Again, had a massive day yesterday. Look at this pop. I thought this thing was done and probably was just going to chop around. But look, it gapped up and look at this, hit 10 and 9. Andrew took several stabs at this and was able to get some clean moves. And I remember him mentioning it around here that this would get to 9. And it did. It popped up here. He got out, I think, before this pop here. But then look at this. Hits 9 and then hits all the way up to 10. So again, traded very well yesterday. If you're patient enough, you got to wait for the right opportunity. And again, you got to really manage your risk on this type of stock. So today is up again. Well, no, today's down 6.4. So, but again, it does have some potential to hit that 10. The volume is not quite there yet this morning. Only 135,000 shares traded. But again, be very careful. This flow, I believe, is 4.7 million shares flow. And the last one on the list, we have Plan. So PLAN. This one is down 7.3, 556,000 shares traded. So it's got some good volume. Nasty daily chart here over the last couple of days, but this could be because of the SPY. I mean, the SPY has just been so nasty as well. If we go back, it does look like it has an okay daily chart. Not great, guys. You have some days here where you have some good pops, but then you have a lot of gaps in between days. You have a lot of indecision candles here. So again, not the best daily chart that we have seen for sure. Pre-market activity right now is looking so-so, not all that great. We definitely seen better with a nice flow. This is more like a 4 out of 10, maybe a 5 out of 10, not the greatest, but it does have some good volume. And what's the ATR on this? Because I'm looking at the price action here. This looks pretty high. So ATR is sitting at $2.35, guys, for a stock that's 55 bucks. That is pretty high. You want to be very careful with this stock. Again, right now you can see the range is moving. The high of the pre-market was at 61.44 and the low at 52, hanging around 55.25 right now. So you want to be very careful on the number of shares. So definitely in play today. We'll see what it does here, but you can see it's kind of hitting this moving average right where the price is at right now. So we can see what we can get out of that. All right, so that's all we have for our
Plan's a little crazy. They reported this morning, and everything I can see actually looked good. They beat estimates, they beat revenues, they increased guidance. I don't know why it's down. It was down even more than it is now, but it's a little bit of a conundrum on that one. I'll have my eye on it. The only thing I can see is on the daily, it looks like it's more than doubled since the beginning of the year. So maybe that's part of it. Oh, okay. Peter saw some inside sales by the CEO, which, you know what? I don't know how much he sold or what percentage of his shares he dumped. But if I was a CEO and my stock was up double in a year, in 8 months, I'd probably be selling some of it too.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So we literally had a lot of volume yesterday too, guys. So everybody was preparing for what was happening with earnings, maybe getting out of positions, getting in, whatever the case may be. So we had great volume yesterday too, 4.8 million. Relative volume compared to how it usually trades, right? Usually does trades around 2.4. Yesterday did double that. So might go red to green here. It looks like some volume is coming in here. So we'll see. It looks very active already this morning. Again, we're not far from that previous day close, so we'll keep an eye on it. Let's go over to our NASDAQ active, NASDAQ gainers. So right on this list, we'll look at the top 10, see what we can find here. On the NASDAQ active list, OSN. So OSN here, 1.3 million shares traded. What kind of stock is this? Let's look at the float. Yeah, 2.5 million shares float. So yeah, guys, this is very low float. You want to be very careful. It has a decent pre-market activity now. What I don't like about this is that usually if you look at an RKDA when it first started popping up, it had a nice pre-market activity following some moving averages. Once you usually have this pop like this and then it starts selling off, you want to be very careful. There's a chance it still can come up, but you want to be very careful on how you take this trade. So has some great value. We could definitely add it here to the low flow side and see how that pre-market activity continues to develop. TVIX volatility index should be slightly down today as the SPY is up. So again, that's one that we can look at. If the SPY starts dropping, it could be a good one to scalp. EDNT here, 435,000 shares. Looks like it's up 48%. Let's check what the flow is on this one. Also another low float. Not sure about the pre-market activity. Again, I'm not seeing a great pre-market activity on this one, even with that type of volume. So we'll throw it on here. Looks like we might have a nice low flow stock watch list to watch today. Here we have AMD. AMD is extremely choppy, not great volume, 390. And I know you're saying, well, how can that not be great volume? Well, AMD is a stock that usually trades, very high in volume. So 390 is decent for any of the stocks. For AMD, so kind of on the low side. It seems very choppy right now, and I expect this to kind of trade with the markets because AMD doesn't have any news on its own that I'm aware of. Norm, do you know anything about AMD doing anything separate?
No, not that I've seen that's really sticking out. I would just say this is probably playing on trade war stuff. Positive news pumps it, and then when bad news comes out, it's been hit pretty hard too. So that's part of it. I think the semiconductor sector, it ran up pretty good at the beginning of the year. It's settled off, and then it's starting to get a little more conversation now after the pullback, so that might be part of it as well.
Yeah, so we'll throw AMD on here because it's going to watch in case things go one way or the other. It's going to have on your list. We have a lot of NASDAQ ETFs here taking up a lot of space this morning. QQQT, QQQ, SQQQ. So we'll bypass those. Head down to NVTR. So NVTR 262,000 shares traded here, up 22%, but this pre-market activity is not looking all that great. I don't see a lot of movement here. What kind of stock this is? It's trading under $5. So usually those type of stocks you want to be very careful with. This is actually on the higher side, 17.5 million shares float. But again, it's one of those stocks that it doesn't look it's going to trade very well. I don't like the way the daily looks. I don't like the way it gapped up and it's just giving it all back with not a lot of activity. A lot of the volume sitting on one candle here as well, so I don't like that. Also, again, just not a lot that I like about this stock, even though it's a 17.5 million shares float. Nothing great that I see here. Momo, we have Billy we have traded successfully in the past. What is it doing today? It doesn't have great pre-market activity, guys. Pretty flat at the moment. 156,000 shares traded. It is down 1.4. But again, even the daily chart's pretty nasty. We were trading this when it was actually having better daily trading, but right now I don't see nothing great looking at this this chart today. Let's go over to NASDAQ gainers. OSN actually, again, it's bouncing back here, so that could be interesting. It's got some great volume, guys, up 82%. So we'll see what we can get out of that. ENTD, we also have down here another one that has some good volume. But again, the pre-market activity just looks a little bit funky on this EDNT. NETE was on fire last week. I mean, this thing just went nuts. This is one of our low floats. Today here seems to be trying to put in a good pre-market and break out of the high from last week here. So again, this could be in play today. Volume is starting to creep in a little bit here. You see 91,000 shares traded so far. So, but this pre-market action looks like it wants to get going. So this could be a go for the low flow team as well, up 29%. Let's see if the volume can get going. If it can break out of this, it can really head towards new highs. So we'll take a look at that. SHOS, nothing going on there. No volume. NVTR, we looked at already, guys. Just again, not looking too excited here. Not much going on. DHXM, this one is horrible. SEED, also no activity, no volume. ACOR, no volume. KRK, same situation. And then last one on this list, REKR, also not doing much. Norm, what do you like this morning? Well, anything aside from what we have here?
I've got J&J on my list. I'm going to keep an eye on Target because it's been in play the last few days. I think it might be petering out, but we'll keep it on there. Roku was on absolute fire yesterday, and then I'll keep an eye on my other normal ones. But so the J&J deal, they popped and they were up more than this on news of their verdict in Oklahoma on a case about opioids and the state suing them on that. It popped because the settlement reached was much, much, much smaller than anticipated. If they lost the case, they thought they'd really get handed a much bigger penalty than what they were. And then it's kind of faded, and part of that is because really, truly, the two aspects is first of all, they were found guilty. So even though the settlement was lower, it was just one state, which was Oklahoma. And the big kahuna in the J&J deal are some lawsuits out of Ohio that are, it's called an MDL, or multi-district legislation. Essentially, it's like a class action suit. That is the one that really could get nasty for them. It's just tiny, tiny compared to Oklahoma verdict yesterday is tiny compared to what that Ohio MDL could be. So that's part of what's going on. But you also have to remember J&J is in a lot of trouble from the talcum powder, asbestos, cancer-causing baby powder stuff.
Yeah.
And that's going on in the background as well. So people that have been holding this might be looking for a way to get out a little bit of it at a higher price in this pop. But I mean, J&J's just been hammered. I mean, you and I have been trading together for over a year, and this thing, it's like every time there's any kind of news, it's just smacked down.
Yeah.
So
I'm shocked it hasn't even fallen more with that type of news, because there's a few things you can't mess with. That's babies, elderly people, and pets. And you mess with those three and you're going to be in trouble. So I'm shocked this hasn't dropped. So yeah, these look good. I like Target as well. And it's just Roku, man. Look at Roku here. It's just insane how strong the stock has been. I mean, we were trading this at $80, $40 not so long ago, and now it's hanging around 144. So it's just unbelievable how powerful this has been. I see we do have BYND here.
Beyond the meat.
Exactly, coming up. So let's take a look at what's happening there. BYND. Yeah, so again, just kind of holding on to this base we've been talking about here. It's found some support here. It looks like it might want to break out, but it hasn't had any luck in the last several days. It's kind of just slowly trying to inch its way up there. So we'll see what we can get out of that. All right, guys, what do you guys like this morning? What do you guys have on your list that you like so far? So NETE, yes, NET is on here, guys. This one, it doesn't have the greatest pre-market activity, but volume is going to come in. What I like about this one for the low flow side is that if it can break out of this, I guarantee you it might squeeze even higher, because what happens is usually when you have these low floats, here's where the big day was. Here's where a lot of people made their money. After this, they're not going to touch it, right? Then it starts getting choppy. But if it pops up like this again and it holds like RKDA did, it has a good chance to squeeze a lot of the people that start getting in short here, thinking this thing is going to go back to $3.50, right? So people are going to start jumping in. People that missed this move have this on their radar now. So now they're looking for any possible chance that it can squeeze even higher, right? Let's look at RKDA has done that. Same thing. Good move here. A lot of people made their money on here. You can see the volume. Had a consolidation period. And then it sold off a bit here. And look at yesterday. Yesterday, more volume came in. Again, people have this on their radar, so any chance of breaking out from prior highs is going to shoot it up. That's what's going to happen with these low floats. We see this over and over again. Take a look at BPTH. The same thing. Had a one big day, 2 big days. Did a consolidation, sold off, and then shot up again once it broke prior highs. So NETE is in that situation, guys. If it can break out of this 575, I guarantee you can run up to 7 or 6 easily. So definitely, if you're trading low flow, that's one to watch today. Keep that one on your list. What else? WW is nice. Let's see. WW. I'll look at KO next. WW. I do like the daily. Let's get rid of these levels. Yeah, I do like the daily on WW. I do not like how the volume is right now, but the daily looks very interesting. You had this beautiful pop here, long period consolidation, holding these moving averages, and now you can see is up 5.3. If it can hold that and get some volume, right, it can break out of that previous high here. But again, just the volume's not there, guys. This could be a good one to keep on your side list and hopefully see if you can get something out of it. If is MDCO still in play, we'll check that in a second. Let's look at KO. So KO, no volume right now, but I do see what you're looking at this daily. If it can break out of its previous highs, it has some real resistance here. This can definitely get going 55 and higher. So I do like the way this is setting up, but again, it has no type of volume today, guys. Only 2,000 shares traded, so not a lot going on there. If we look at MDCO, yeah, no volume, but it could put it a continuation there, or it could just chop around. But again, just only 5,000 shares traded, so really low volume. But it could put in a continuation today. Had a big day yesterday with some good volume. But again, just off the bat at the open, not looking too interesting. SJM, let's take a look at SJM here. This is down quite a bit, 6%, 100,000 shares traded so far. Pre-market activity is not looking all that great, guys. That's the one thing I see here with this SJM. So again, I do like this drop here. We can see that we're heading back to some levels of prior support and resistance around March. But again, just the volume is it's not really there, and the pre-market activity is not looking all that great. We'll do a few more. ATVI, guys. I also like the breakout here, but again, it's up 3.4. It's just, it comes down to the volume, right? These stocks are the ones that, the WWs, the ATVIs, the SJM, that you can only watch so many of them because you can't watch all of them. But these do not have a great pre-market activity or great volume right now. So you want to have these possibly on your side list. If you see them hit that turbo breakup, turbo breakdown, it could be some good ones to tune into and see if you can get something out of them. But again, here I also like the way it broke out of this prior resistance here, sitting right at the low of the pre-market, and you have a potential level that you can hit right up here around 51. So I see what you like on there. And again, guys, just because we're not watching this in our watch list at the open because the volume is not there and the pre-market activity is not there, does not mean that after that 10:30 mark, 10 o'clock mark, that you cannot go to these stocks and see what they're doing for a possible trend trade that you can take advantage on. Let's look at Apple. Apple has a okay pre-market action today. It's got some okay volume too, 155. I think this is moving more with the markets today, kind of like AMD is doing. So I don't expect anything too exciting out of it. But again, it just goes back to that. If you see it on turbo breakup, if you see the SPY shooting up, if you see something causing some news that comes out or something like that, causing some disruption, this could be a good one to watch. But I don't see anything overly exciting on Apple this morning. All right, guys, let's get to some announcements, and then we'll fine-tune this list, and then we can go back if we have a little time towards the end to see what other stocks you guys have. Again, there's a lot to watch today based on what you guys are throwing me on the chats, but we'll come back to it in a second. Norm, what do we have?
All right. So last time I'll announce it, there's a reason I'm doing this. So what, if you haven't seen it, the Dr. Steenbarger interview, world-renowned trading psychologist and author, is the interview we had with him is posted on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. I think you'll find it time well spent. There is another big interview coming. It'll probably be released next week after the holiday weekend. So stay tuned for that. I guarantee you'll be interested in watching that one as well. Bearable Traders are a sponsor of the DAS Trader #1 Best Trader competition. This is the second time they've done it. Starts next Tuesday, September 3rd, runs through the end of September. You can go to onebesttrader.com. If you use the promo code BBTFall15, you can get $15 off the registration price. If you register this week, it's still $75. I believe the last day to register is next Tuesday, the 3rd. Usually it's open till midnight, but the price will go up to $100 at that point. Bearable Traders is honored to have been nominated to the Benzinga FinTech Awards in the Best Financial Literacy Tool category. If you enjoy our content, we would much appreciate your vote. If you click the link that Eamon or Abiel has put up, then it takes a half a second, 2 clicks, and you can vote one time per device per day. Got a couple of meetups. The next one is the Bay Area meetup. I believe it's being held in Oakland on September 7th. In the New York City, September 21st, and we will have Dr. Brett Steenbarger in person at that meetup doing a discussion. I think it's going to be more of a presentation with him and some drinks afterwards. So then also, if you're watching us on YouTube and you have not seen us trade live in the room and you'd like to come try it out, you can use the discount code premarket24 for a 1-week chat room trial. That'll give you a discount off the normal rate for 1 week. It does not auto renew, so we would love to see you in the room. You guys, thank you.
All right, excellent, guys. So let's look at this list, guys. Let's make this a little smaller. Let's slice and dice this. So Teva is on here again. Now one of my favorite stocks. It's been on the gappers list quite often, but it just doesn't move and has not been trading very well. So it's got some good volume today. 585,000 shares traded. We do have some great levels on this already, even though it hasn't moved much. 786 here, you can see how that has been playing support and resistance and a lot of consolidation around that area. You do have this moving average right around 8, so you might want to keep track of that as well. I'm going to mark it down. $8 here to be exact. You have that moving average there. You have 847 as well, and you also have 888 towards the bottom, guys. Low of the pre-market sitting right at the high from yesterday, so we'll keep that on there. Then below that you have the previous day close, which is a very strong, important level you want to have on your chart. That has been some huge resistance and support for Teva. And then below that you have the low of the last 2 trading days as well, plus some moving averages coming in between those two levels. I'm not going to mark the moving averages because we have plenty down here already that's very clean. You can see, for example, how the low of 2 trading days ago around 7, how that has acted as some support on several days here as well. So plenty of stuff on Teva. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it yet. I'll keep it on here for now, but again, it's just one of those stocks that has not been trading very clean since it dropped a lot on pricing. Here we have Momo. Momo has a nasty daily chart, guys. Not looking all that great. It's got some volume, 266. I'm going to mark the high of the pre-market at 34. You can see 34 has been support and resistance in the past couple of weeks. You can see heading back over here towards the top. If we can break out of that, we have a very nice level, the next resistance level at 35.85. So that's a possible. Towards the bottom, guys, below the price action now at 33.67, you have your low of your pre-market, which is very close to where the high of the pre-market, the high of the day was yesterday, so I'm not going to mark this one here. And then you also have the high of 2 days ago right below that. And then right after that, you got a lot of moving averages. I think you have 2 or 3 moving averages right in here, so you have plenty of levels. Previous day close, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. And then around 32, you have this nice moving average, which I'm going to mark in case we go red to green. This could be a good area that we can head towards. So that is Momo right now, guys. Again, pre-market activity not looking all that great, but we'll see what the open brings for Momo. Plan, wow, Plan is red to green, guys. This thing is coming back, and that could be a strong signal when something like that drops off and then comes right back like that with some good volume. 896,000 shares traded so far. This could be a good one today. Probably has the best pre-market activity we've seen so far. High of your pre-market is at 61.51, so I'm going to mark that down. Looking very strong as to head higher, which makes sense because Norm was talking about this. This stuff had nothing but positive news today, so there's just no reason why it was dropping so much. Again, maybe people taking profit, CEO taking selling some stocks right here, some shares, and you can see that it's popping up nicely now. So towards the top you have that 61.51. Is that all-time high? I'm just going to check the weekly chart real quick. It seems like it is the all-time high. Yes, a recent, not recent IPO, but fairly recent, starting back in November 2018, maybe October. And you can see here it opened up at 20. Now it's hanging around 59, 60 bucks. That's pretty nice. So now plenty of levels up here, guys. Nothing much we can mark down. You have your previous day close and highs and lows right in this area. If it loses all of those, the next area of possible support could be this one right here. You have a moving average fairly close to that, 55.36, and then your low of your pre-market 52.72. So but Plan looks very good, guys. Looks strong. It looks like it's going red to green here, coming back nicely. Definitely one you want to have on your list today. AMD is one that I'm going to watch depending how the markets do. If it takes off, this could be a good one to watch an hour or 30 minutes into the open. Right now, it's stuck between a lot of support and resistance. You got support towards the bottom, previous day close, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Also, this 29.85, which has been a support from the daily charts. Above that, you have a lot of moving averages. You have the 2 highs from the last 2 trading days as well. So I'm not going to mark any more towards the top. You got plenty on here for AMD. J&J, this one right now doesn't have the best pre-market activity, but they have a lot of news out right now, so it could be a good one to watch. Let's remove these levels and get some fresh ones. We do have 128.80, which is the low of the pre-market. High of the pre-market sitting at 130.59. If we break out of that, we do have the high from yesterday right on here. Above that, this has a nasty daily chart here. So when you have a nasty daily chart, it's not the easiest thing to find some good levels of support and resistance. We do have 133.30. And I'm trying to find the best one towards the bottom. Probably this one here. This 132, 132.33 also seems to have some areas of support and resistance as well. Towards the bottom, guys, you got again the low of the pre-market, 128.80, and then below that you do have your highs and lows from the last trading day plus your previous day close right down here. So that's plenty of support towards the bottom. And if you can see here, this line, this low of the pre-market, 128, that has been support over the last couple of months, really. If you go back, if you draw this line here, you can see how that has been very nice support. Every time it hits that line, bounces back. It's sold off here, but today is gapping right above that 128.80 one more time. So definitely have that marked down on your list. Target, guys, it seems to me I'm long biased on Target. I think it wants to really break out of this range here. It popped up nicely, a nice gap on earnings, and then here you have a consolidation period happening. All-time high sitting at now at 106.52 to be exact. To get that exact number on Dash Trader Pro, what you could do is if you put your cursor on one of these candles, you can see, look down here, look at this high. So if you put it on whatever candle you're looking at, that changes and it'll tell you the high from that day. Right, so you want to see the high and low from that day, the open and close. That information is also right on here, so you can use that to get that information. You also have volume, VWAP information, and all that. So 106.53 is the high of all time. Again, target looks very strong. I'm putting this one as a possible. Pre-market activity is not all there yet, very light. Again, not much volume at all. Roku, which has been on fire. Roku has actually, it's got some good volume and a good pre-market activity right now, guys. So definitely one to watch. Breaking all-time high again at 145.35. So I'm not going to mark it because it looks like it might want to go higher. Towards the bottom, you got plenty of levels. I don't think you need to add anymore. Don't complicate it. Previous day close, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. And again, that's plenty of levels towards the bottom of support. And look at this moving average right where that low of 2 days ago was, 2 trading days ago. So right on there around 135-ish or so. So Roku looks good. Definitely one you want to watch this morning. RKDA, guys, is a low flow. It's been very active. Again, had a big day yesterday. Today looks like it's not much going on, but it had this same type of pre-market activity yesterday, and then it just shot up nicely. OSN, I don't like the way this one's forming for the low flow team. You usually see this a lot. It sells up, sells down, and doesn't get going, so I just don't like the way this one is setting up. I'm going to remove it from my list. EDTN, same thing. This looks like one that's just going to start slowly just dwindling down and selling off, and really not giving you an opportunity. So I just don't like this one is setting the way it's setting up. And NETE, on the other hand, this one looks very good, guys. This one looks like if it can get going above this 575, your high of your pre-market right now, 570, it can really take off, guys. It had a really big day last week, sold off already, and now it's back up, gapping up nicely, 21%. So let's get some levels towards the top here. Let's zoom into this area here. All right, we do have 648. Let's see. Wow, this is very choppy here. I do see an area right around here. This 625. You can see some days consolidating on there. Again, not the best level, but you definitely want to have that on your charts. And also 6, guys, every whole dollar is very important when it comes to these low flow stocks, so definitely have that on your list on NETE. Towards the bottom, let's get one towards the bottom right over here at 510, and then below that, since it's been trading up and down, you have your highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Don't really need to add any more to NETE. All right, guys, so that is what we have. Let's just quickly review here before we shut it down for the pre-market show. So we have Teva. Teva, again, has not been trading well, but I'm going to watch it today. We don't have a lot on watch, so I'm definitely going to watch Teva, see what it gives us. It has good volume. Again, it just doesn't move much. So hopefully it can break out of this area that's been stuck in and give us a nice pop. We do have some nice levels we can reach. Momo, starting to get going here. All right, let's see if we can head back up to that 34.86. Again, it's got some volume. It just came in, so hopefully it can continue to get better. But right now, pre-market activity not looking all that great. But I do like the pop on Momo. It is up 4.2, so I'm definitely going to watch this one. Plan has probably one of the best pre-market activities this morning. It's really getting moving here, hitting the previous day close, and hopefully going red to green. And staying that way. So hopefully let's see what it does on Plan. But again, we got some good volume out of this as well, with some good news on it also. AMD I'm going to watch. AMD is good. J&J, I like J&J, so I'll keep J&J. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. Yep. And then out of TGT, I'm going to keep Roku. Roku is definitely one to watch, guys. It's just been so strong and so active this morning. That's one I definitely want to keep in mind in my watch list. And then RKDA and NETE are two good ones for the low float team. I'm not going to watch them because I don't watch low floats, but these two are definitely two you want to have on your list if you are trading low floats. All right, guys, that is my watch list for today. We do have Eamon with his watch list. He's watching Roku, SJM, Plan, Momo, AMD, and Teva. Peter is watching. He's posted his list in the chat. He's watching J&J, Plan, TGT, SJM, Teva, Momo, and OSN. So we got some good ones on here. And we also have Kurt watching pretty much similar stuff. I see a lot of you guys watching SJM. Let's pull that up. Oh, this is the one that pre-market activity is not all that great right now, but it is capping down huge. Yeah, let's do some levels for this because a lot of the other moderators are watching this one today, so it could be a good one to have as well. You have your low of your pre-market.
Yeah, Schmuckers doesn't. It usually doesn't have much volume pre-market.
Yeah, so we do have 104.95 low of the pre-market. Towards the top, guys, your high of your pre-market is sitting at 110. You also have a level right around here, around 109. Let's go back. It's been trading around here before. Back in March, we looked at. So if we go right in this area here, find some levels. Clearly, this is a nice level of support here. Another one right on here. Several days bouncing off that 99.54, 101.23. And you also have very clean one here, 102.82. So plenty of levels on this one, guys. So again, it has a nice drop today. Volume is not all there yet. Pre-market activity is not all there yet, but it could be a good one to watch today as well. All right, guys, thank you for joining us on YouTube. Take care, guys. Trade safe today, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern time.
Thank you, guys. Trade safe. This week probably will be a little bit like yesterday, so be selective in your any trades you decide to take.